We're living in what feels like the golden age of weight loss. From GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Mounjaro to bariatric surgery and just good old-fashioned diet and exercise, we have more options than ever to help us lose weight and get healthy. But which methods are actually any good? And how can you tell which tool is the right one for you? Well, I've lost 200 pounds in just over a year, and before that, I spent decades trying many of the methods we'll discuss in this video. So I'm gonna break down 12 different weight loss tools and rank them on a tier list based on 3 criteria: effectiveness, or how much weight can you really lose; sustainability, or how long can you keep it off; and trade-offs, what are the risks, costs, and downsides. I'm Joel, and you're watching Just a couple of things at the top. First, I'm not a doctor, and none of this is medical advice. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. Second, these are my personal opinions based on my research and my own journey. I would love to hear what you think and how you would rank these differently, so drop your thoughts in the comments below. And finally, if you enjoy this type of content and want to support the channel, it would mean a lot if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. All right, let's get into it. Let's start our tier list with the most common weight loss method, which is diets. Now, there's an absurd number of diets out there, so I broke them up into 4 main categories. The first category I'm calling elimination diets. These are the diets that eliminate entire food groups or eating windows. Think carnivore, keto, vegan, or intermittent fasting, among many, many others. These diets can seem to fall in and out of fashion, and I think they're popular because they're often very simple, at least on the surface. For effectiveness, they can be quite good, at least in the short term. Keto in particular causes rapid initial water weight loss, and it's pretty common to see 5 to 10% body weight loss in the first few months. The problem with many of these diets is sustainability. The high level of restriction makes them extremely difficult for most people to follow long term. Of course, there are exceptions, but studies show adherence plummets over time, and weight regain is extremely common. I've experienced this myself, jumping on and off keto and trying intermittent fasting many times during my yo-yo years. I think they can be good tools for the right person in the right situation, but I think most people would usually benefit from other types of diets. So for those reasons, I'm putting elimination diets in C tier. The next category of diet I'm calling product diets. These are systems based on meal replacement products. The ones that come to mind for me are Slim Fast, Jenny Craig, or Optavia, and there's many, many more. They often do create fast weight loss by replacing multiple meals a day and removing all the guesswork, but the sustainability is extremely low. That's their biggest flaw. They don't teach you how to eat real food in the real world, and once you stop buying their products, the weight loss almost universally comes back. The products are also usually expensive, and you're locked into their overpriced system. I personally tried Optavia, and while I did lose weight quickly, I just found it was expensive and totally unsustainable for me. For those reasons, I'm putting product diets in D tier. Next up are what I'm calling tracking diets. This is more or less counting calories, but with a system. Think Weight Watchers, Noom, or if it fits your macros. These methods are all based on tracking your food intake to create a calorie deficit. And I appreciate that these offer more flexibility than elimination diets, but they do require constant daily mental effort, tracking, measuring, and weighing your food sometimes, which can lead to burnout. I've had success with Weight Watchers and tracking my macros in the past, but ultimately I did find it tough to make it a long-term habit through every season of my life, and I'd eventually fall off. Because of the flexibility that they offer, I do like them as tools, but they still are challenging to sustain, so I'm putting tracking diets in a solid B tier. The final diet category is what I'm calling lifestyle diets. This is less of a diet and more of a philosophy. Think Mediterranean diet, Blue Zone principles, and mindful eating. I think there are ways of incorporating these lifestyle principles into many of the other diets on the list. I'll also put cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, in here, as there are some powerful psychological practices that have helped people address their relationship with food and lose weight long term. The focus here is usually on long-term health gains and behavior change, not rapid weight loss. They aren't a quick fix, but I believe they have the highest sustainability of all the diet methods because they're about being flexible and building a permanent mindset, not a set of restrictive rules. This is a very tough process to go through, especially after years of negative habits and behaviors, but if you can pull it off, this is one of the best approaches. And because it is holistic and sustainable, I'm putting lifestyle diets in A tier. So moving on from diets, the next method I'm calling exercise only. This includes programs like P90X, CrossFit, and any plan that focuses primarily on working out. Now, to be clear, those programs don't tell you not to focus on diet, but there's a popular misconception. I think it's driven largely by shows like The Biggest Loser, that the best way to lose weight is just to exercise like crazy. The reality is you can't out-exercise a bad diet. It's far more effective to control your calories in rather than try and burn them all off. Exercise has extraordinary health benefits beyond weight loss, but as a pure weight loss method, exercise only has to go in D tier. So that covers diet and exercise, but I know for many people, and this was definitely the case for me, diet and exercise by themselves just weren't enough to combat chronic obesity. I ended up needing medical assistance. So let's talk about medications. First of all, I want to group all of the non-GLP-1 weight loss medications together. This includes drugs like phentermine, orlistat, and many others. From my research, they can offer modest weight loss, but they were never game changers. There's a reason everyone freaked out when GLP-1s arrived. They're often not recommended for long-term use, and when you do stop, the weight is typically regained. For that reason, I'm putting non-GLP-1 weight loss medications in C tier. They can work for some people in some situations. Now let's get into some of the heavy hitters. The first up is semaglutide, or semaglutide, I don't know. It's also known by its brand name Ozempic and Wegovy. This drug started the entire weight loss revolution. The Step 1 trial showed an average of 15% body weight loss after 1 year, and it's proven to be incredibly effective. The main issue with sustainability is that it only works while you're taking it. There can be significant regain if you stop. And there are other trade-offs, like the cost being extremely high, and like any medication, it does have side effects. Hopefully the cost will be coming down soon. This has been a revolutionary medication, and it would be an easy S-tier candidate if not for the next drug we'll talk about. So for that reason, I'm putting semaglutide in A tier. The next and final medication I'll rank is called tirzepatide. It's also known by the brand name Mounjaro or Zepbound. This took the effectiveness of semaglutide and went even further. Currently, it's the most effective medication for obesity on the market. Trials showed an over 20% total body weight loss, which is approaching bariatric surgery levels, all from a weekly injection. It has similar side effects and cost downsides to semaglutide, but its effectiveness is extraordinary. And for that reason, this has to be our first S-tier method. Okay, so now we're moving into the final category, which is bariatric surgeries. But first, I want to discuss what I'm calling restrictive medical devices. The two most common are the adjustable gastric band, also known as the lap band, and the gastric balloon. Both of these attempt to restrict the amount of food a person can eat. But here's the key. Modern bariatric surgery is effective because it also causes powerful hormonal changes and in some cases malabsorption. These restrictive-only devices don't provide those benefits. As a result, these procedures have high complication rates, high rates of reoperation, and high rates of regain once the devices come out. In a world with GLP-1s and much safer, more effective surgeries, these just aren't something that most people should be considering anymore. So I'm putting restrictive medical devices in F tier. All right, 3 more to go, and these are the real heavy hitters. As a category, bariatric surgery is the most effective and durable treatment we have for severe obesity. First up is the gastric sleeve, also known as the vertical sleeve gastrectomy or VSG. This is by far the most common bariatric surgery performed in the world today. It's very effective. Patients typically lose 30+% of their total body weight in the first 1 to 2 years. It involves permanently removing about 80% of the stomach, which has powerful restrictive and hormonal impacts. For sustainability, some weight regain is common after 5 years, but it's far more durable than non-surgical methods. The trade-offs, like any surgery, it has risks. Some patients report significantly worsened acid reflux, and it requires lifelong vitamins. To qualify for this and other bariatric surgeries, you need a BMI of 35 or higher, or a BMI of 30 if you have a comorbidity like type 2 diabetes. It's a very good procedure, but I personally think if someone is considering the VSG, it's also worth discussing GLP-1s with their doctor and seeing what benefits they can get before they have surgery. There are also more powerful surgeries if you have a lot of weight to lose. And so I'm putting VSG in the solid B tier. The next surgery is the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. This was considered the gold standard for decades. It produces slightly more and faster weight loss than the sleeve, averaging 30 to 35% total body weight loss, and even more in some studies. It combines restriction, hormonal benefits, and malabsorption by bypassing part of the intestine. This means that patients won't absorb all the nutrients that they eat, which is a powerful tool for long-term maintenance. It is a more complex surgery than the sleeve, and it has downsides like dumping syndrome, which is a physical reaction to high sugar and fat content. And it also has the downside of not being able to take NSAID medication. But even with those trade-offs, the gastric bypass has an extremely long and successful track record, and so I'm putting it in A tier. The final method in this video is actually two related surgeries, the SADI-S and the duodenal switch. These are the most powerful surgical tools that we have for obesity. This surgery combines the sleeve stomach with a longer intestinal bypass, so it's kind of a hybrid between the two previous procedures. The results of these surgeries are incredible. On average, patients lose 40 to 50% of their total body weight and sometimes more. The malabsorptive component is extremely strong, and the long-term sustainability is the highest of any method we've discussed. But there are significant trade-offs. It's the most complex procedure with the highest risk of long-term malnutrition and vitamin deficiencies unless patients adhere strictly to lifelong vitamin regimens. But it is categorically the most powerful and durable tool we have for treating morbid obesity. And so for that reason alone, it has to go in S tier. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that the SADI-S is the surgery that I had and the tool that I chose for my journey of losing 200 pounds over the past year. If you're curious about my experience, I have a whole playlist on my SADI-S journey that I'll link in the description below. So there it is. Those are my rankings for 12 different weight loss methods. I'm sure I got some wrong or left some of your thoughts out, so go ahead and let me have it in the comments. I'm prepared. Ultimately, the best method for each person is going to be the one that works, and not just a quick fix, but what keeps weight off long term. That's why I started my podcast called Keeping It Off. It's all about finding people who have lost a lot of weight and kept it off for years. However they did it, whichever method they used, I get to talk with them and learn from their story. So if that interests you, you can find all the episodes here on my YouTube channel, or you can listen on your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this valuable and you'd like to see more content like this, please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.